it hurts, man. I could feel all of the turbulence and it's concerning. I've been searching for a purpose, I hope it's worth it. This society is really trying me. Ain't no hide and seek, I hide to be far from anxiety. I need my space, I need my privacy. I need some silence, please, you're all too loud. You don't speak quietly, opinions violently thrown across every surface. It makes me nervous. Is the world honestly burning? That's all I'm learning. Hope that we can make a turn and start reversing. All our minds and put the work in. We got some work, man. I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all. I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all. I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now
whatever narrative she's got going on. What's your opinion, man, and what's your viewpoints on some of the things that's going on in this country right now? And what do we need to do to get back to some American values?
First, before I answer that, I just want to say thank you for having me on. You know, we did the other interview.
Yeah.
It wasn't live.
No,
it wasn't
live
in
is always
person.
different.
Right. So I appreciate you having me on. It's crazy. Like stuff that's happening today is like it's like, am I watching a movie that somebody wrote out and said this is how I want things to go? You know, because you got they're pushing the agenda, the gay agenda, the LG, you know, that whole thing. Okay, I'm fine. That's the lifestyle you want to lead, but don't push it on my children.
On that note, and I talked about this before, what about the Dalai Lama thing? Did you see it? He does this thing with his tongue and he tells the high priest is doing stuff and nobody said nothing. Mm-hmm. And it's like this stuff right now is all in our face, man. Like you said, some of the stuff with the kids is all in our face, man.
Yeah, they're making it so that you have no choice but to accept it. And what's happening, people are just walking into it and accepting it. You know, 10 years ago, we'd be like, oh, hell no, we're not gonna watch that. We're gonna turn it. But every time you turn the channel, there's something with their agenda on it. The cartoons, even they're starting to, you know, advertise the food in that way. You know, like you see commercials with those agendas on it. So what's happening is they're trying to slow down the birth rate. They're trying to keep us from reproducing. And when I say keep us, people that have this color. Because their birth rate is slowed down. Yeah, I know what they say in the news. Oh, you know, we have our birth rate is behind. No, there's always been.
That's for you and I miss the old you. We died with a purpose. All the energy around me felt nervous. Scared I would pop out fast to the surface. Had to cut it off before you made me worthless. Torn apart, I've been torn and scarred. I had a given art, but now I'm thinking smart. I'm keeping up my guard. I'm hiding every card. A royal flush of love. You never know what's hard. With a back to the mat, gonna see where I'm at. I'ma fight like I'm mad. I'm a beast of the net. They can never be me. Nice try, but they'll see I achieve everything while they stay salty.
What kills a lot of people's aspirations is once they fall off the horse, they get off the rail, they get sidetracked, they don't start over. They don't pick up where they left off. What they do is, this is the thing that people do. They go find some other thing that they want to do and try to start over with that. Or start with that, not start over, start something new. I see it all the time. I see people, hey, I got this business, I'm doing this and then they reach a point where it's not working, or it seems like it's not working. But, you know, I always tell you, it's always working. Even in the times where it looks like it's not working, it's working. What it's showing you is maybe you need to just reevaluate how you're doing stuff. And then they quit and they go to something new. And then they get to a point with that and and then they move on to something else. Know what habit they're developing? Giving up and starting new processes. Because they figure, oh, maybe that was a bad idea. Let me go over here. Maybe this is a bad idea. Let me go over here. I've had that happen, people I work with. Right before they reach that point, that threshold of a new level, they give up. If you are not getting what you desire, you're not happy with things going on in your life, then there's a bad tree somewhere in your midst. And the tree is in your head. There's bad information in there. You're identifying with bad things. You're identifying with things that are giving you unpleasant experiences. So the first tree you need to check and maybe cut down is that negative tree that you have allowed to sprout in your brain or in your mind. A lot of us want to believe that our mind is inside of this organic thing, right? That's where our mind is. But what if I told you your mind is not there at all? That brain is just a processor. It's either true or false. It takes information and okay, this is what we need to do. It's basically organic mechanic. Your mind is an energy field that surrounds you about 6 inches in front of you. It's the shield of energy that's why you can come close to people and you start picking up vibes because you're picking up that energy. That's why when you can take your hand and put it here and you can kind of feel it, not just heat, but you can feel some type of energy surge. Like, see, I can feel that energy surge. That's your, what you call, spiritual radar. See, we so identifying with what we can see and think that's it. What you see is not it. What you see is the end result of your mind. That's the end part. That's the end game, okay? What you're seeing is the result of the manifestation of your consciousness. So if you can disconnect from what you can see and just concentrate on what you can't see, and that's how manifestation happens. That's how you bring about those things that you desire.
Shall come unto thee. You see, so you've been acquainting yourself with the wrong concept of yourself. And this is what we do in these classes. This is what we do in these services here. We teach you to acquaint yourself with the divinity of you. And there are certain things which are natural to the divine self. Health, for example, is the nature of the divine self. And health is divinely natural. I always smile whenever I read or hear that someone died of natural causes. And people used to go to the witchcraft workers to find out if their sickness was natural. And I'm going to tell you right now, no, your sickness is not natural. Yeah. Health is natural. Say that with me. Health is natural. It's natural for you to be healthy. We'll make a personal effort.
And that static are being sacrificed. And that's, if your stuff's not available, they can't hear it. Sometimes you got to feel your way through the dark. And I struggled all the way up into the minute. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all you guys.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent it. The information station changing the nation.
Peace. What's up? It's Tuesday, March 12th. We halfway through March already. Man, I'm gonna keep drilling that. Let y'all know these days be passing by like you don't have any time. They just go. They're gonna go regardless. They're gonna do what it needs to do. Now you got to do what you need to do, and keep moving forward in the things that you want to accomplish. Those high-reaching goals, those things, the changes you want to make in your life. If you don't want to make any changes, then you don't have to worry about what I'm saying. You can just continue doing what you do. I played that little clip of Reverend Ike talking about, recognizing your true divine self. We've been identifying ourselves with a self that's false, a self that pretty much was drilled in us since we were children. All of us, everybody, nobody's excluded from this. We have accepted at some point in our life an image of ourselves that wasn't true to who we really are. And we just have to face that reality that's what we've been doing. See, it's when you realize you really don't know a lot is when you know a lot. I'm going to say it again. When you realize you don't know as much as you believe you know is when you know a lot. Because that's the beginning of understanding. That's the beginning of your search for the truth. When you know you don't have all the answers. See, the people that got all the answers, that think they know everything, they will never progress because they feel like they've already got the answer. And these are the people that you're trying to have a conversation with. The people with the PhDs and the bachelor's degrees and all of that, the education. I got this piece of paper that society says is what I need to be considered accomplished, to be considered successful. At the end of the day, those papers, those degrees, all of that education that you're getting, formal education that you may get, is always going to leave a hole in you, a hole in your spirit. Like, is this it? The true knowledge, the true understanding, the true overstanding, the true information that you need is, who are you? Who am I? Who am I in relationship to everything around me? Who am I? Because that's the question that's going to haunt you throughout your life. Even though you try to forget it and run from it and distract yourself with jobs, distract yourself with relationships, distract yourself with trying to get money and be wealthy, that question will always haunt you. Who am I? So my suggestion is stop and figure that out. Ask that, go for that truth. Because once you get that down, you go down that path, that's when the doors of enlightenment start to open up. That's when you realize you're walking down the right path, and that you realize that all of this stuff you've been trying to chase and trying to figure out means nothing compared to that. Nothing. No other information means anything compared to, what am I? Who am I? What am I here for? What will truly make me happy? Because people won't make you happy long term. It will always, you could be happy with someone today, and tomorrow you'll be disappointed. And just a little side about disappointment in people. The only reason why we're disappointed in people is because we expect them to be something. We got this image of how they should treat us and how they should be, and then they don't live up to that, then we get disappointed. The key to all suffering is expectations, or not accepting what is, not accepting people are how they are. That is the one key to everybody's disappointment, is expectation and imaginatory or illusionary thoughts of what we think people should be in relationship to us. People are going to be who they are. What we need to do is have an expectation on ourselves on what we will tolerate, what we will allow into our divine consciousness. See, that's what you can control. What you will allow into your divine space, and what you need to, exercise out of your space, or exorcist, whatever the word I'm trying to mean, what you need to get rid of. Because once you become fully in your divine nature, you won't tolerate you, and you won't have to be rude. You just peacefully dismiss it. You won't have to battle back and forth. You won't have to prove whether you're right or wrong. You'll accept things as they are, and that's what we need to learn. We need to accept it when we get presented with things, especially with things from people we consider supposed to be trustworthy to us. We need to just accept that this is their character. And then accept the responsibility. Well, you chose that person, so you have to accept the responsibility of the bad choice you made. And there will be freedom once you do that. Well, peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to everybody. Right there is the seminar, that webinar that's going on this Saturday, 10 to 4. Get on it. I have limited space. And I think half of it's gone already. So get on. It's $197 for a 6-hour webinar. You don't have to leave the comfort of your home. You don't have to travel to come see me. This is basically information that I teach in my seminars. I'm doing it as a webinar. I planned on doing it physically, but it didn't work out that way. I waited too late to get the place, and I'm going to do a live one come April. I'm going to do a live one. I'll announce that. I'm going to get that together like ASAP. And these are the things I'm going to be teaching. Nationality correction, some updated information to that, injunction process. Pretty much the same. I think I have one thing to add to that. I have to go back and look at my notes. Name change process, definitely updating that. National passport process. Just so you know, all of these things under nationality correction is pretty much in the same realm. Injunction, name change, national passport, all of those things. Private trust, the importance of setting up a trust. Show you some example trusts. I will be giving out a template of a trust there. Private banking, how to operate with your trust privately. Discharging debt, how to get rid of debt. I have some ways that you can get rid of debt. UCC filings. What UCCs? You had non-UCC, UCC1. Which one should you be filing? So I'll actually be showing my personal UCC. I also have a special bonus of a letter I got back from my bank when I was doing the process, what they sent me. Something that you guys have been taught to do for a long time, that I pretty much have blown a hole in that theory and proved it wrong. But I don't like to talk about anything until I do it myself. Took me a while. I had to make some arrangements, but I got it done. I'm gonna show y'all what the response you're supposed to be getting when you do it the right way. All right. Who's out there in the audience? Let me straighten out some things here. All right, we got peace, prosperity, extreme wealth. I think I forgot to put the E in there to all, but y'all get the point. Happy Tuesday to everyone. Corinne, Above and Beyond with Corinne. She is the host of Level Up Thursdays. Her and I do that show together. So we're doing that together. But eventually I feel like she'll be able to do that all on her own and man that day. I know she probably what? Yeah. It was like when I first got on, I didn't plan on being a host and teaching like I am now. When I started Hindsight Radio, I just wanted to preach Bible. I was still heavy into the religious structure, the indoctrination of religion, and I wanted to teach that. I didn't like the way it was being taught, and I had my teachings that I wanted to teach. I get to teach them now, but I'm more extreme I'm considered extreme to the religious mind. So, we all started somewhere, and now look at what I do. I've been doing this for 9 years. Can you believe it? 9 whole years. 9 years. It's great. It was 2014 when I started this journey. 2015 is when I did my first show. Good afternoon, said Meyer. Javier says blessings to all. Indie Circle Ministries says peace, my brother and everyone. C. King Bay say peace, everyone. C. King Bear said, you can't hide from yourself. Teddy Pendergrass song. Absolutely, you can. I know everybody. Most people ask that question. What am I here? What am I to do? On different levels. Just that feeling of what I'm lost. Even though you have a job and you may even be able to getting paid very well and able to take care of things, you still feel that emptiness. When I talk to some of my friends, man, I've been doing this, I'm doing good. They're living well on the surface, but they hate what they do. But I would love to describe what they're going through, but they don't hear me. It's not the job that's the problem. The problem is how you see yourself. You have identified yourself with these jobs and all these things. That's your identity. And this society has created that, where you identify with who you are by the things you do in the workplace, by the education you receive, right? We see a homeless person. We identify him as a loser because he's homeless. We see an alcoholic, a wino. We identify him as a drunk. He's nothing. But I'm going to tell you something. I've heard the most profound things come out of the mouth of somebody who was full of alcohol. I mean, really full. So we can't dispel anybody because of their living circumstances. Some people are on the street because they simply want to be. I recall a story a long time ago when before I had children, I think I was with my homeboy Thomas and my other homeboy Steve, and we stopped at a White Castle, and this homeless guy comes in there, and I think I told this story before. I'm gonna tell it again. And he just wanted a cup of coffee. He pulled out $1 and he wanted to pay for the coffee. And the people in the White Castle treated him so bad. Get out of here, you stink. Get out of here. Just treated him like garbage. And so he just said, I got the money. I just want the coffee. Now, they could have just poured that cup of coffee, took his money, but they wanted to be nasty towards him, unkind. And he got mad. He said, I got money. And this man pulls out a wad, like a wad. There was no small bills in this wad. And they still wouldn't serve this man a coffee. So someone had to buy the coffee. Someone took it upon themselves to buy the coffee and give it to him. You don't know people's circumstances. This guy just got tired of life. He was a college professor, got tired of life. His family had money. They were very wealthy. He just chose to live on the street out of a shopping cart. That was an easier life for him. And when you really think about that spiritually, he had no rental responsibilities. And if he could tough it out on the street, he good. I mean, I'm just thinking I wouldn't do that, but I'm just saying all of the things that he got to worry about, all he got to worry about is keeping his shopping cart together and, watch his back when he's out there. So when I saw that, it taught me not to just say homeless people are broke or they don't have money. A lot of them do. So I had a relative, my grandmother, her brother, my great uncle. He was an ex-military. He lived on the street and he was getting retirement checks, disability checks for the military. And he just liked to live on the street. Just checked out of society. So you don't know anybody's journey. So we should be careful how we look at people and what status in life. And here's another thing. Why you got to be careful, because you never know. That very person that you're looking down on might be special, might be an angel you're talking to. I believe that. Sometimes we're sitting there talking to people, and we're talking to people that truly are angels. And you have to, and one thing you got to be in the mindset of everybody is divinity. So everybody you're talking to, no matter what status they are divine. Although some people don't operate out of that because they have gotten lost in the abyss, in the hell of their circumstances. Even the devil that the Bible talks of was once had a station in heaven. And according to the Bible, he fell from grace. But although the Bible simplifies that story about the devil and how he lost favor with God, he's a liar and all of this stuff, we still don't. All we know is what the Bible's the hearsay story. We don't know the full intricate details of it. Think about how close he was to God, that God would just talk to him. Where were you? Roaming about? Or you wasn't messing with my servant Job. It's like a father talking to his son. What you doing out there, boy? You out there messing around? See, when you start to critically think these things and you start to see a father and his son fell out, and the devil, Satan, could just is another. They told you this story in another place in the Bible. Jesus even told the story of who Satan really is. The prodigal son. Who got lost. See, once you read the Bible through, you start to see all of these stories are pretty much the same. This good and evil story has been going on. You had Cain and Abel. Garden started with the serpent and misleading, but then you had Cain and Abel, Joseph, Jacob and Esau. And it continues on, these different stories. You see? You start to see that different generations told a different version of the same story. And if you ever get a chance, put your attention on these ancient buildings and look into stuff like the mud flood. And you see how these buildings were buried, and they started excavating. They found these buildings was a lot taller than we thought. They were just buried in mud. And as I've been researching that today, it looks like this mud flood thing happened between 200 and 150 years ago. So I'm suggesting that the whole story, all of the stories, that's why I said I started out with saying, when you think you know everything, you don't know nothing. But when you know you don't know everything, you know everything. Just looking at records and looking at different things and understanding what these dates really were signifying. The calendar change. Why did they have to change the calendar? Why did we have to go from a 13-month calendar into a 12-month calendar? Why? Why did times have to change? What we thought was saying 1875 was really a letter in front of it, and it was 875. Huh? I know I just messed with somebody's head there. He's crazy. I ain't drinking. I ain't started drinking nothing. I ain't poured nothing. Nah. I'm talking straight from the spirit. I truly believe that this flood didn't happen that long ago. And because none of us were born during that time or saw anything, and we've been indoctrinated, just about every country has what you call compulsory education. Why did they do that? Why did they take on that task to educate the whole world through governmental institutionalized education? Why? Because they wanted to change your perception of what's happening. But if you stand and look at these old structures, you start to see something. Like, wait a minute, how did these primitive, no chisel having, no technology having people get to build these magnificent, intricate structures? And then you start to leave. And I've seen this in New York. You see buildings with windows covered up, half buried in the ground. What happened? Then when I was a kid on the subway, and we used to go, if you know how kids, we used to look out the window and you're in the subway. They got subway stations that they closed off that you can't, the public doesn't have access to. But if you're very careful and you traveling on the subway, you see subway stations, and then you get to see some of the artwork and the detail of the subway stations look more better than the subway stations that had what they consider modern. My father used to work for the subway system, and he used to do what they call what was the work? It was called every so often they had to go in and inspect the tracks, and he would talk about these other stations that he would run into while they're walking. He said that no one is. Why did they close down these stations? Why? Is it something they don't want you to see? Technology of today could just be a repeat of what was yesterday. When you see stone structures where you can see, it looks like they're on laptops and have earpieces and somebody holding a cell, what we call, talking about stuff that they claim was thousands of years ago. Remember, scientists are bought off 100%. They get to say, well, this was 10,000, we carbon dated this to 10 million years ago. What if it wasn't that long ago? All right, let me get off that trip. Somebody put something in here. It says, if you added all the black people and the white people and the Spanish people, they would still be outnumbered by 1,000 from the Arabic people over the next 10 to 20 years. Okay, if you add it, okay. There's nothing to fight against. Just enjoy your life. Can't possibly have enough babies to save our civilization. I don't know what he's talking about. We ain't going nowhere. We're here for a payment. Can't prove it. It made you impotent. I don't know. Well, I know the water's polluted. He said everything we hear in the media is 100% lie. Jason in Brazil says peace. George says peace. He said he's 5'6", white guy, have been in every roughest neighborhood in the country, neighborhoods of color, and have never felt threatened. We used to love each other. Yeah, that's true. Insliga says peace and love, everyone. George got a lot of stuff to say, man. You might want to start a podcast. I can't possibly go through all your comments. Indie Circle Ministry, that guy is an example of no one can define your happiness. Right. Absolutely. Somebody said, George also said, I'm pretty sure if we turned off all the media, we would be okay. Absolutely. We wouldn't be in fear. I agree with that. Bonnie Davis says, peace, family. All right, so let's get to the subject at hand. Do you really need a 9A number, a foreign EIN number? I'm not going to hold you all day to talk about this, but I'm just going to show you some things. I'm going to start off with sharing my screen. Let me see if this is going to... Give me a second. Sure, I can share. There we go. There we go. All right, so this is the 501c3 book, right? And I'm going to go straight down to... This is the book that's about tax exemption, and I'm going to go to the religious part and just break that down, and then that'll go into what I believe, if you need a 9(8) number or not. Not if you don't know what a 9(8) number is, a 9(8) EIN number, which is called a foreign EIN. A lot of teachers say get that number. But the problem with that number is it doesn't give you absolute tax exemption. It's just a foreign EIN number. Then you have to, to make it tax exempt, you have to connect it to certain things. So it doesn't give you that. But there is an EIN number that you can get that automatically gives you tax exemption. And basically that makes you foreign. Long as you stay within the activities of that entity you created. Right here it says, the term church includes synagogues, temples, mosques, and similar types of organizations. Although the IRC excludes these organizations from the requirement to, IRC means Internal Revenue Code, excludes these organizations from the requirement to file an application for exemption. So they said this IRS manual says, it's publication 4220, says it excludes those organizations from a filing requirement. So when something is excluded, what does it mean? It's foreign. It doesn't have the same requirements as everyone else. To file an application for exemption. Many churches voluntarily file applications for exemption. This recognition by the IRS assures church leaders, members, and contributors that the church is tax exempt under IRC Section 501c3 and qualifies for related tax benefits. So it's saying they do it voluntarily. They don't have to do it. But it doesn't give them tax exemption. It just gives them recognition by other people to see that they are tax exempt. But they automatically get tax exemption because of their status. Once you understand that religious organizations, religious or churches, let me be specific, churches, synagogues, temples, mosques are above, excluded. They are not to be touched by the government unless voluntarily they choose to be touched by the government by setting up themselves as a 501c3. You see? You can just look up publication 4220 if you want to read through this manual. Right? So I'm going to show you this is a CP 575. This is the notice you would get if you apply for EIN. Now, this particular EIN was applied for as a church. And do you notice this E right there? That means exempt. So that means when you get a number under that category, the IRS already puts you in that foreign status, that exempt status, that excluded status, where they won't require you to file anything. Now, they put language in this form that may stump some people. Right here. You start right here. It'll say nearly all organizations, I'm starting here, claiming tax exempt status must file a Form 990 Series Annual Information Return Form 990, 990 Easy, or 990 PF, or Notice Form 990N, beginning with the year they legally formed, even if they have not yet applied for or received recognition of tax exempt status. They say nearly all. So that means there's some exempts that don't have to do this. It says if you become tax exempt, you will lose tax exempt status if you fail to file a required return or notice for 3 consecutive years unless a following exception applies to you. See, they always say filing exception applies to you. And I just read in the other manual that the exception, who are the accepted entities, exceptions that apply to particular entities. So when you file, if any organization files for 501c3 status and they get it approved, If they fail to do anything for 3 years, they lose their exemption. So you really take yourself from being foreign, excluded, accepted. When I mean EX, exception to the rule. You bring yourself domestically in, or you bring yourself into their jurisdiction where they control what you do. So, in short, do you really need a 988 number? Not really. Not if you operating with this like this. And I always tell you, if you guys claim you have a God that you believe in and you trust in and you're following him, you should be living your whole life that way. You should be setting your whole life up financially under your religious beliefs, without question. Your whole life should be one big ministry, right? You know, I mean, speaking to Christians, you're supposed to be followers of Christ, right? Why aren't you following them? In everything you do, you only follow Christ on Sunday, Thursday, whatever days you go to church. Your whole life, your whole way of being. If you read the Bible, people, everything they got, everything they brought into the house, they shared it with the temple. Not all of it, a portion of it. It was a community. It was a way of life. And most of the people they did business with was in the same temple, belonged to the same faith. Right? That's how you're supposed to be operating. That's how you stay foreign. I'm showing you right here. So if you get a 9-8 number, I should have had an example. You're not going to have that either. There's going to be some following requirements regardless if you're using that for commerce, which you really shouldn't be, but there you have it. See, that wasn't long. Let's go here. That wasn't long. I wasn't going to take all day. George, you should set up you should set up your own channel if you want to advertise your trust information. But my people in my group already know how to set their trust up and have their church control their trust without any of all of that stuff. See, Ronnie Davis said it. True, I got a 9-8 number, no E. He said he go get that temple started. Right. So, and if you read the IRS rules, I did an IRS webinar. I did a short video on it, and I read some of the rules. Whatever activity you want, you need to state that in your bylaws, because now it becomes a church activity, which becomes therefore an exempt activity. Okay? If one of your church activities is making bread and selling meal, making bread and selling it, and that's your temple activity, that's an exempt activity because it's written specifically in your bylaws. So you got to be detailed in the bylaws exactly. So people are setting up churches, but they're not being specific about what that church mission is. Preach the word of God. On top of this is what we do. Do you require dues from your members? Do you ask for dues? So, what I'm trying to explain to you, you need to set up your temple, synagogue, mosque, whatever you want to call it, church, whatever you want to call that. Create your trust. Have your church control all of your trust property. When I say trust property, a trust is considered a property too. Church, everything falls up under that. You know? Absolutely. Banks and trusts can make money out of thin air. In California, I was reading, if a trust has assets of $250,000 or more, it is considered a bank. It's right out of the IRS trust. I mean, not the IRS, the California Trust Code. Right out of it. Go read it for yourself. All right. All right. Well, I'm sorry. This is going to be a short show. I got some things to do. I apologize, but keep in mind, we have that webinar. Go to AkeemL.com, and register for the webinar. The good thing about when you register, you're going to get all of the link to the Zoom class automatically. As soon as you sign up, you're going to have your access. No more waiting to me to email it out. I made it easier, streamlined everything. AkeemL.com. And if you're not on my email list, go to AkeemL.com and put yourself there so that I can send you updates. All right? All right. With that being said, you guys have a peaceful, prosperous, and productive rest of your night. Peace, prosperity, and wealth to everyone. Peace. Extreme wealth to everyone. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all you guys.
This is Hindsight Radio. I represent it. The information station changing the nation.